Hey, hey, hello, everyone. Welcome to the short answer. It is always a great joy to be with you. I'm in a different studio today, and so if the background looks a little different, that's why. And I am thrilled to be with you here right now. So we are here for the short answer, which is hopefully just giving you a little something to think about during your day until we meet again. And before we dive into that, I want to first of all, share with you that it's going to be about triggers. It's going to be about how to work with those things that we call triggers, push your buttons, trip your triggers, all those kinds of fun things we're going to dive into because it's huge and it's big and it's up for a reason right now in so many people's lives. So we're headed into that in just a few moments, but I want to make a couple of announcements for you, okay? Because there's something super fantastic coming up that we're going to be doing in person in Arizona, in the Phoenix area, just outside of Phoenix, Scottsdale, Arizona. We're going to be having an in-person healing event. It's not just healing like we think about healing your back pain, your digestive issues, or your systemic issue that's going on with you. It is that. And it will also be about truly turning on the power of your own creative genius and mastering your deep empowerment that is at the foundation of your being, that our cultures haven't really been nurturing along the way, and certainly haven't been nurturing in recent years. And so we're going to dive in and ignite that. And for that reason, the event is called Ignite. And it is a quantum flip in healing and awakening. And I'm really, really excited about it. We haven't had an event like this before. And here's what I mean. The majority of the event is going to be focused on the actual doing of the practices together. I'm going to be introducing new practices for you and weaving them together with some of our foundational works that you may be familiar with or you may be new to. Maybe you don't know anything about what we actually do behind the scenes and in the depths of the work, because this may be the only time that we're actually connecting. I hope that you deepen your experience with the work of Mortar Institute, because a life-changing perspective awaits you. And we love to share those things with you. And we will be all about that. One healing event after another at Ignite. One healing session after a healing session, after an ingenuity session, activating your creative genius session, right into healing and why that genius hasn't been forward in your life up until that moment, and opening deep pockets and filling them in with the truth of you instead of the illusion of your disempowerment and your lack in some way. So no more intimidation. We are here to learn how to work with triggers, our topic for this evening, and to really understand the blessing that they actually are. So there's a little hint to where we're headed. But so that event is September 14, 15, 16, and 17. And it is all day long. We're going to be doing body awake yoga in the mornings, but then the whole rest of the day is all about you working with you. Well, so is the yoga, the way that we do yoga. And don't worry, the yoga isn't a bendy, twisty, pretzely, stand on your head kind of yoga. It's about building circuitry, building electromagnetic circuitry in your system, and then encouraging the nervous system to establish a memorized pattern of nerve impulse to truly sustain what we're learning and remembering and awakening. So Ignite in mid-September. Okay, be there. I'm going to be there. If you join right now, you have access to a preparation, strong start preparation and activation kit, little meditations and activations that I've prepared for you to prepare you before you even get there. So the healing starts now. When you immediately sign up, it starts, you'll immediately receive the Strong Start program, and you'll be ready to roll when we get there. That's part of the point. Okay, so you're going to get meditations and support videos and all kinds of fun things. So join us for that. Okay, next, the monthly healing transmission that is next is Wednesday, August 30th, and that is at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. And you want to join us and bring your friends to that, because we are building a very strong network of people around the world. We're in 105 countries with our gatherings in that way. So You want to be a part of that and make a contribution back to humanity at the same time that you're remembering the truth of who you are and leveraging the support of one another. So we do lots of great healing with each other and for the world at the same time. We also have the Gold membership, which is part of Mortar Institute. It's sort of a minimal way to engage and to learn. And directly following the short answer, we always have a MasterClass, which is part of the Gold membership. And you also have access to many old, all of the archive. They're not old. They're just like, since forever, versions of the MasterClass that you can binge watch and learn and listen and infuse these things into your lives. And we love, love, love sharing that. And so our membership has a fantastic time, and it allows you to be a part of the community in a different way. So you have an opportunity to ask your questions in the masterclass, and I answer them kind of in a collective. I create these images that we then weave all of your questions together and give you answers, showing you that we have the answers in the moment. It doesn't require pre-preparation, and all of our questions are related. And when we start to realize that all of our questions are related to each other, what happens is we start to feel connected instead of isolated. We start to feel like there's nothing wrong with me. It's not that I'm just this different, separate self that's trying to figure out how to do this thing called life. Everyone is in this together. And when we start to have that feeling, our subconscious relaxes and healing is able to continue or initiate itself again when that relaxation happens. And so we're circling it around you and gathering, got you surrounded inside of all sorts of ways to relax the system and allow it to move into healing and filtering and cleansing and detoxifying and then moving into your creativity after that, so that you can come up with new projects that inspire you and new ways of engaging in old situations that will allow for different outcomes and so forth. So those are some cool things. Let me just check if there's anything else. We have 100+ prior masterclass episodes in the archives, so you have lots of good material there. There's a link to sign up for the Gold membership in the comments below. And then the last thing I want to mention is we also have the Body Awake Yoga membership. And this is another inexpensive way to engage in our community and really deepen your understanding of how energy runs through your body, how you can facilitate that energy running through your body, how you can learn to feel it, sense it, and work with it. And the reason that you want to do that is when you're aware of how the energy moves through your body and when it's not running through your body the way that you now are learning it's supposed to, you can redirect it. And when you do redirect it and engage it again, healing happens in your body. Healing happens in your emotional states. Healing happens in the clarity of your mental states, and healing happens in your reconnection to the truth of who you are and to source or to the divine or to the supernatural versions of you through activating different energy centers in this central channel that we are constantly working with. So a tremendous way for you to really get into some of the nuts and bolts of what Mortar Institute is teaching with the energy codes and the School of Higher Consciousness, et cetera. So there's no reason not to do it, okay? So you don't have to, again, worry about stand on your head and bend in half and, backwards and that kind of thing, although there's some of that if you want it, but it's optional. And I always direct you and guide you. I'm very interested in people being able to do chair yoga, being able to do beginning and intermediate poses and movements and flows of energy, because that's really where the rubber meets the road with you turning on this self-healer within, okay? So I'll see you there, all right? And the monthly healing transmission, I'll see you there, okay? And I'll see you in the Gold membership and the masterclass right after this, I hope. Okay, on to triggers, which I know is you're just, really excited to hear about that. Triggers are things that people don't like when their buttons get pushed, although it's very interesting because we're usually pretty excited about it after it happens. We usually tell the story about it. We usually get all up in it, and it brings a sense of alertness to us for sure, even though it doesn't feel good and we feel angst, in the situation, et cetera. Also, I also want to include in this conversation accidents, which people call accidents, and I call them incidents because I don't really feel that anything is an accident, and that there are things coming together for us always that are really trying to prod us into recognizing that we are more free than we're letting ourselves be. We are more free than we're letting ourselves be. And we have to learn how to do that. So that's what I teach inside the energy codes, inside of the Live Awake program, and actually inside of all the things that I mentioned for you in our announcements this evening. What I want you to get is this, and this part is like, oh, really? Yeah. But it's an essential ingredient in any discussion about triggers or incidents or accidents, as some people call them, for us to really heal, for us to really be free. And really, freedom is the point. Healing isn't enough. It isn't enough just to heal from some old wound or some old upset or some old happening that occurred in our lives. It's beautiful to heal, but there's something more that awaits you as well. And it is your freedom to create, your freedom to not be bogged down by something that has happened from your past, your liberation really from your thoughts and your own beliefs and your intimidations and your tendency to want to prove somebody wrong, or all the stuff that we get egoically caught up in an attempt to protect ourselves or to guard ourselves. We oftentimes sense that we're about to be triggered, and instead of, well, we're actually being triggered, but instead of letting it bowl us over, we will strike first. We will be the first one to agitate or irritate the other person just to keep them from doing it to us. And those are all survival tactics. And I want you to understand that the reason that we are inspired to engage in them is because, think about a point that you've been triggered about. Think about how it feels inside of you when you are triggered. Think about what happens. Your blood pressure goes up, your heart rate goes up, tension comes into the body, a knot in your stomach, a lump in your throat, your breath gets short, and your pulse rate goes up, and your mind starts taking off, and it starts thinking about all the things that they should do differently, that should have happened, that would have kept this trigger from occurring, that would have prevented everything, and everything would be fine if we did. However, those brilliant ideas that we surface, those things that we come up with in those moments of poignant clarity because we've been triggered, those brilliant ideas are actually being fueled by something else. And that's what I really want to talk to you about. That something else that's taking over in that moment that we would say we are triggered is, here's what's going on. There is that angst that you feel when you are triggered. That angst was in you before. That angst was in there before. So the trigger or the accident or the incident or, whatever it was, actually provided an opportunity for that angst that's in there to come up to your conscious awareness and to come out. And so it's actually part of a healing recipe. It doesn't feel like it at the time. And we get super upset with the people and we rant and we rave. And, I don't know about you, but sometimes I walk around the house just, saying all the options that could have happened there instead of what you said or what you did or how you said it or when you said it, all that stuff, and it's like, just lay it down. Just lay it down, because actually it's directing you into a part of you that has been pocketed off. And the universe, as it does, is always in your favor, operating to get you to unpack that stuff so that you are free, so that you are in fact free, so that no matter what anybody says or does, or whatever accident or incident occurs, or whatever you might find yourself exposed to, or the happenings that seem to be out of your control, that are agitating or upsetting in some way, that all of those things are actually working in your favor. Embrace your triggers, because they are the medicine that you're actually looking for. And here's the deal. If we can start to look at them as that, we're like, okay, trigger me. Let me see what's in here. Let me see what's going on so I can get to it and I can really do some work with it. Because I don't really want to be carrying around that angst. I don't want to wonder when it's going to pop out. I don't want to be afraid of being in certain situations because more of it's going to come out and who knows what will happen. And then we'll get combative, or it'll blow up, or this or that or the other will happen. We don't want to live with that kind of dread or that kind of doubt or that kind of controlling mechanism at our subconscious level, We really want to know that, hey, whatever comes, whatever this person or any person says or does, I'm going to be able to see it for what it is. I'm going to be able to see it without a flavor or a charge or a filter or an angle on it that is just waiting for something for me to defend or to protect. That is not front side of the model living. Front side of the model living is being responsible for self to the degree that we get it and that we are free. And that when someone does these things that are so hurtful or that are triggering, as we say, we see that, wow, maybe this person is projecting onto me because they have even more angst inside of them that I'm feeling is inside of me. And it's so big inside of them, they have to kind of like, blah, spit it out in my direction. And so, wow, as painful as that would be if I absorbed it, it must be more painful on the inside of them because they can't contain it. And so in that situation, we start to realize that the world is being pushed forward, one trigger triggering another trigger, triggering another trigger, triggering another one. So you walk into a place and someone's attitudinal and you have a response and they have a response, or you pick up the phone and you call somebody with some sort of intention and they come back with something totally, totally different. And then you are like, trying to hold it and manage it. And eventually, something comes out of you. So here's the deal. We're here in scrub down land. We're living in scrub down land. We're living in let's allow the triggers to serve because we're here to be served. We're here to be cleaned out, for the basement to be flooded and for us to clean house. So, it's like, okay, if I get triggered, here's what I'm going to do. The moment that I start to feel my intensity rise, and it can happen in a flash. It can happen so quickly, knee-jerk reaction. And the next thing you know, bang, we're triggered. The moment that you recognize that you are triggered, you got to get into Mula Bandha. And if you don't know what Mula Bandha is, you have to get into the YouTube channel or do something that allows you to learn what Mula Bandha is when I'm speaking about it. It's a root lock that pulls you out of your head and back down in your body. And then you breathe in your belly. You start breathing in your belly. And when you start breathing in your belly, before you speak, you're going to take a couple of breaths in your belly so that you can feel yourself come back home to yourself instead of coming up here into all the things that I'm going to say and do to win this situation. And so when you come back home to yourself, here's the intention. There's angst inside of me that has shot me up into a triggered state. And I am going to take a time out here and I'm going to pull myself back down in the body and take a few breaths and note there's work to be done. If I can't do it in this moment because I'm riled up or I'm in a situation where I have to continue communicating with someone and I can't stop and do the circuit building exercises that we learn inside of our coursework. Right now, I'm just going to keep breathing in my belly and I'm going to pull all of my attention onto subject, onto self. And I'm going to leave just enough out there to hear what they're saying, but I'm really going to be paying attention in here, not to what I want to say, but to how I want to feel. Not to what my comeback is going to be, but what feeling do I want to preserve inside of human consciousness? What feeling do I want to take a stand for right now when the going is rough, the going is tough in this moment? What do I want to feel? What do I want for the whole of humanity to be able to feel in a moment like this? Because if we can get to that feeling, we are already embracing the opportunity that the trigger is giving rise to. It's showing us there's a part of you that's still stuck in defense physiology. There's a part of you that's walking around with angst in there. And that angst in there is being absorbed into your own cells, into your organs, into your glands, into your digestive process, into your immune system. It's having its heyday and it's wreaking havoc inside your system. And enough already. We're here to allow something else to be more important. And it happens moment by moment by moment. It's not just when we sit around and talk about how glorious it is and the values that we have and how we dream this for humanity. It's about when the rubber meets the road, right there in that raw moment, you are making a transformational contribution to the bandwidth of human consciousness if you will pause and you will breathe. And you will realize that any attack that is coming your way is because that person is in more pain than you are in this moment. And they are offloading it on to you. So you breathe and you breathe and you breathe in the belly, and you come onto subject, onto the self with every little smidgen of photons that you can gather to be able to sit and be in your true self. And then what happens is you ask questions. You allow them to get it all out of their system if it's not abrasive and abusive to you. And the point at which it becomes abusive, you say, okay, this is about all that I can hear right now. And perhaps we can reconvene at another time. And I'll give you some feedback about what I've heard you say, because I want to be accurate on what you're saying and what's happening here. And then I'll give you some feedback about how I feel. And see if they're interested in getting back together with you. And if they are, then you both are interested in the evolution of human consciousness through our own individual life experiences. And if they're not, or if it just never comes up again, you pretty much have your answer. So you build some circuits, and you know how to do that if you're in the coursework. And if you don't, then learn how to do that. By all means, do not sell yourself short and leave yourself skillless in this scenario, because being skilled in these emotional triggers is one of the greatest gifts that we can give to ourselves. And it's become so obvious when you are in a conversation with someone who does not have that skill and is just barreling things your direction in one form or another. So embrace your triggers, because they are releasing from within you an angst that you need not be carrying. And so the universe is putting in front of you something that will trip those triggers and give you the opportunity to flood the basement with love instead of suppressing that angst all along. Okay. So yeah, darn the luck. Yes, but it is actually bonus. It's bonus material for you to realize that it's in your favor. And even this person who might be inflicting pain on you might be disappointed to know that you're going to take that and glean from it in ways differently than perhaps what they intended. But at the end of the day, there is peace and there is liberty. There is liberation and freedom. That's what we want. So I'm hoping that that's helpful for you. I hope that you don't have to use it in real time anytime soon, but if you practice it now, you'll be prepared when those times do occur. So join us for the masterclass after this if you'd like to go deeper into these conversations and have more tools in understanding how to work with life in a proactive, front side of the model, creatorship sort of way, instead of just learning how to survive the angsty situations that occur in our lives. So in the comments section, you'll find how to link into the masterclass. You'll have time to do that before we get started at the bottom of the hour. It is always a joy to be with you here in the short answer, and I so look forward to our time together next. I'll see you in just a few moments in the masterclass. Blessings to everyone. Namaste. Bye-bye for now.